I remember back in October of 2018, when I was sitting in a movie theater, waiting with bated breath for the lights to go down, and the credits to roll. It had been a long wait, a wait of decades, to get the so-called definitive sequel to 1978's Halloween, endorsed by John Carpenter, and starring the original Scream Queen herself, Jamie Lee Curtis. Then the lights dimmed, the movie started, and reality set in. About 15 minutes into 2018's Halloween, co-written and directed by David Gordon Green, I started to get this feeling that something was off. The film looked bland, had no discernible style, had no mood, only a kind of ugliness and a nasty attitude that rubbed me the wrong way. And as the end credits rolled, I felt so disappointed it almost hurt. As a lifelong fan of the Halloween franchise, and of Carpenter's oeuvre, I found Green's Halloween to be the antithesis of the original Halloween. Where the original was atmospheric, stylish, and elegant, this quote-unquote reboot was crude, vulgar, and smug. And, for the record, I really liked Rob Zombie's take on Halloween, which was basically a white trash, American Gothic version of Carpenter's original, so it wasn't like I was dead set against a little edge, a little grime, to spice things up. Then came Halloween Kills, a trite, crass, follow-up, that amps up the violence to sickening levels, throwing everything but the kitchen sink in a cynical attempt to appeal to the lowest common denominator. While Green's Halloween scripts left something to be desired, the writing in Halloween Kills is, for the most part, abysmal, with characters speaking stiff dialogue and acting in ways that defy all logic. I'm not even going to get into that quote-unquote timely message about mob violence. Then came the finale, Halloween Ends, a self-indulgent, terribly written film, which drags the Laurie Strode character through the mud, features one of the most poorly conceived plotlines in the history of the franchise, and which is executed with the subtlety of a sledgehammer. Even if Halloween Kills is technically more accomplished and stylistically less crude than its predecessors, it's still a crushing disappointment, and a terrible ending to an abomination of a trilogy. I'm being too harsh, you say. Surely, David Gordon Green's trilogy is better than 1989's bizarre Halloween 5, or the ludicrously plotted Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Not really. Those films were basically low-budget, quickly shot sequels without backing from a major studio, and didn't have any input from Carpenter or Curtis. And they certainly weren't produced by an Oscar-winning production company. Gordon's Halloween trilogy boasts higher budgets, a number of high-caliber screenwriters, backing by Universal, and input from Carpenter himself. Gordon and company had every resource at their disposal to make good movies. They didn't. What they delivered were three cynical, downbeat films, each worse than the one that came before it. Gordon and his team seemed to be more interested in being edgy and abrasive, than in delivering legacy sequels that respect the franchise and the audience. A big part of the blame has to fall on Carpenter's shoulders, who has been constantly promoting this trilogy for 4 years, calling Green a great filmmaker, and praising the films to high heaven, which made fans, like myself, have sky-high expectations. One has to wonder if Carpenter's self-confessed delight at receiving checks for doing nothing has something to do with it. For me, after 4 years of waiting, watching, and enduring these films, I'm going to dim the lights, grab a bowl of popcorn, and watch a film that Carpenter has called an abomination. But, for my money, 1981's Halloween 2 beats the hell out of Gordon's trilogy, a real abomination, any day of the week.